You pour that like it's a religious event. It's just hot water, Confucius.
It is tea. And how one handles hot water tells me how one governs a city. If the hand shakes here, it will shake holding the seal of state.
That's a heavy burden for a wrist. Tell me, before we solve the state, how did you learn anything at all?
By watching hands.
Hands?
How tea is poured without spilling. How meat is cut without tearing. How a son stands before his father, head lowered, breath quiet. No one explains these things. They are shown, repeated, remembered.
So wisdom enters through the skin, like a rash.
Through patience. The hands remember before the mouth understands. The ritual saves us from our own clumsiness.
That's generous. My hands mostly just steal figs, and my clumsiness, well, that's where the fun is.
Fun is usually followed by a mess someone else must clean up.
Or a discovery. I once spent an hour with a blacksmith, a giant man, hands like tree trunks.
An hour is brief.
It felt like a lifetime for him. I was annoying him. I watched him hammering iron. Clang, clang, clang. I asked him what strength was.
And?
He said, muscles. I asked, is an ox strong? He said yes. I asked, is an ox wise? He stopped. The fire kept burning. The hammer cooled in his hand. He looked at me like I was a fly he wanted to swat.
A sensible man.
But he didn't swat. He thought. And after a long silence, he said, very quietly, strength is knowing when not to lift the hammer.
A good lesson.
I didn't teach him that. I didn't show him how to stand or hold his tool. I just waited longer than he was used to. I created a gap. He filled it.
But someone taught him to hold the hammer, Socrates, long before you arrived to annoy him.
True.
Without that form, his strength would just be violence. You praise the gap. I praise the vessel that holds it. You want men to stop swinging. I want them to hit the mark.
But if they hit the mark without knowing why, are they men or just very well-trained dogs?
A dog is loyal. A dog knows its place. Better a loyal dog than a wolf asking, why should I not eat the sheep?
Maybe, but a dog that never asks why isn't loyal, Confucius. It's just furniture with teeth.
Furniture does not bury its dead or remember their names.
But tell me, if a boy came to us today, confused, empty-headed, which would you offer first?
I would place the cup in his hands. I would teach him to hold it until he stops shaking.
And I would smash the cup and ask him why he's crying over pottery.
You would smash the cup. Then what?
Then I watch. If the boy cries about the pottery, he wanted a toy. If he asks why it broke, he wanted to learn.
You enjoy confusing people.
I enjoy interrupting certainty. I don't teach, Confucius. I interfere.
Interference has a cost.
Everything does, including obedience.
I carry the burden of example. If I stand crooked, the shadow is crooked. If I am careless, those behind me fall faster than I do.
That sounds exhausting. Living life as a statue just so others don't trip.
It is called being watched.
Ah, that explains why I prefer the markets. No one expects you to be upright when you're haggling over onions. In the market, a fool loses a coin.
And in the palace, a fool loses 1,000 lives.
Athens executed a man for asking about the moon. Was that foolishness or fear?
It was order protecting itself. Cities collapse when everyone asks and no one obeys.
So you fear chaos.
I count its bodies. I buried 3 students who followed a map into a river. The map said bridge. The bridge had rotted 10 years ago, but they walked because the paper told them to.
And I buried 3 who refused to look at the river because their teacher told them the map was holy.
The difference is consequence, Socrates. When you unsettle a man, he loses sleep. When I mislead him, his children pay for it.
You make teaching sound dangerous.
It is.
Then why do it?
Because someone will stand there regardless. Better an imperfect example than a void.
Or better, a question than a comfortable lie.
Questions do not raise children.
True, but answers raised without questions grow sharp teeth.
And questions raised without roots grow nothing at all.
You know, I once told a young man, "I know nothing." He laughed. Then he asked me why he should listen to me. I had no answer. I still don't. So tell me, Confucius, can someone teach wisdom while denying they possess it?
They can teach posture. They can teach restraint. They can teach how not to spill boiling water on others.
And I can teach people to notice when their hands are shaking.
Then do not call it teaching.
What should I call it?
Disturbance.
I've been called worse.
In one village, a father stole a sheep. The son knew.
And?
The son said, "My father is not a thief." The sheep was eaten. The father lived. The family stayed whole.
You approve?
Yes. Truth belongs to the law. Loyalty belongs to the family. If a son betrays his father for justice, he loses both.
No, he loses one thing and keeps another rotten.
You would turn a son into a judge?
I would keep him human. A son who lies for his father does not stay loyal. He learns something else.
He learns devotion.
He learns that stupidity is protected. So next time, he lies faster, then faster, until he stops noticing.
And if he tells the truth, the family breaks. The father is shamed. The son stands alone.
Yes, and if he lies, the family stays. But no one trusts anyone inside it.
Order survives.
Silence survives.
A society built on betrayal collapses.
A family built on lies rots quietly.
Which would you choose?
I would choose the wound you can see. I've always been bad at choosing comfort. You protect the family, I expose the lie. You think my way is dangerous?
I don't think, I remember. Look at your students, Socrates. Sharp, brilliant. Everyone listened when they spoke. They asked questions the way others sharpen knives.
You blame questions?
I blame what they learned to cut. You taught them to ask, "Why should I obey?" They learned quickly. They asked, "Why not rule? Why not take? Why not kill?"
That's not teaching, that's hunger.
Hunger with words becomes power. Your student sold his city, then bought it back with blood. The second one wrote a list of names, men who would die. Friends first, teachers second. You feared quiet rot. You raised wolves.
Yes, they became wolves. I thought I was teaching them to hunt lies. They started hunting people. I didn't stop them. I didn't know how.
My son, Bo Yu. I taught him everything. Poetry, ritual, silence, how to walk, how to bow. I never asked if he was happy. He passed me in the courtyard, quickly, head down, as if I were a wall. I raised a perfect son. I know when he died. I do not know when he stopped being my son.
We thought we could shape the wound.
Pain does not wait for permission.
It comes from the hand, or from the world.
Discipline leaves marks you can name.
Questions leave marks you can't see.
We chose the burden.
And learned too late that they are the ones who carry it. We meant to protect them.
Yes.
Anyway, I saw the smith again, a year later. The fire was cold. He sat there.
You run.
What?
When silence becomes too heavy, you run forward. Tell me about the smith.
He sat there, staring at his hands. He looked at me and said, "Before you came, the metal sang. Now I only hear the question. I broke his silence, and he lost his craft.
A man without his craft is a danger to himself.
And a city full of men who question their craft
Is a danger to everyone. Exactly. The smith stops forging, the soldier stops marching, the sun stops bowing, and the city starves.
Or the city wakes up. Maybe the soldier should stop marching if the war is unjust. Maybe the sun should stop bowing if the father is a tyrant.
And who decides that? The soldier? The angry sun? When rituals break, Socrates, every man crowns himself king, and 1,000 kings is just a mob.
I prefer a mob of thinkers to a disciplined herd of sheep marching off a cliff.
Sheep do not burn cities. Thinkers do. Your thinking led Athens to ruin. You shook the city until it threw you overboard.
It wasn't steady to begin with. I look at Athens, Confucius. I see a ship, not holy, not noble. A ship with a drunk captain and silent sailors, because that's how it's done.
And you? What are you on this ship?
I am the gadfly, the one who keeps buzzing until someone spills the wine, the one who shouts, "The captain is drunk."
And while you shout, who steers?
No one. I don't steer. I sting. I'm very good at stinging.
Exactly. You expose the drunk captain, but you never take the wheel. You leave the ship drifting.
Better to drift than smash into the rocks just because the captain said so. I would rather drown asking questions than sink saluting a fool.
And I would serve the ship. I would stand by the captain, guide his hand to the wheel, pour his wine slowly. I would not shout. I would not sting. I would keep the course until he sobers up.
That's not wisdom, Confucius. That's collaboration. You serve a monster so the furniture stays upright.
And you would burn the whole house just to show everyone the roof leaks.
At least they would see the sky.
At least we would still have walls.
So tell me, when obedience protects injustice, what do you call it?
Duty.
I call it fear.
And I call your courage irresponsibility.
You wanted to fix rulers. You stood close to power. You advised it. You shaped it. You sold wisdom to authority.
I stood where decisions are made, because decisions are made there.
And when they failed, it was never your name on the decree.
You speak easily of distance. You stood apart. You asked. You mocked. And when the city turned on you, you let it. You let the city kill you. You left a wife. You left children. You call that courage. I call it abandonment.
Yes, I thought the city was my family. I thought truth was my son. I did not know what it meant to be a father.
You chose purity.
I chose ignorance.
Then perhaps
teaching wisdom is not honesty. Perhaps it is arrogance. It's strange. I drank the cup they gave me, and I died not knowing if I taught anyone anything.
And I died in exile, an old man with a broken wagon, thinking the music had stopped forever.
Uncomfortable men rarely get good endings.
They get long echoes.
I never saw the harvest.
Neither did I. We plowed, we sowed, we did not stay for the autumn.
Yet, someone will ask, because I kept asking.
And someone will walk, because I kept walking.
So, is that the answer?
That is the question.